Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up War Chant. Not on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's a special podcast edition because we continue. And by we, I mean the whole gang. Gene Williams, myself, and Corey Clark in Bradenton still, covering Florida State IMG Academy, still at the Holiday Inn Express. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Love this place.
One of the listeners, Grumpy BK on the WarChant.com machine. The Holiday Inn Express acoustics are fantastic. I can't help but imagine you guys curled up in your two double beds, mic'd up for the podcast.
That would be nice. I am late for, I'll lift the curtain a little bit. I'm actually laying in a bed right now talking to you folks.
He's fully clothed.
I'm fully clothed, and Aslan is not in the bed with me. He's in a chair at the foot of the bed.
Yeah. Well, there's a desk. There's a wall. It's like a desk against the wall. I'm kind of at the desk against the wall.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so 2 days down in the books in Bradenton. It was a very brief observation period. I guess we'll dive right into that. We'll do like a 3-segment sort of show today for you folks. I think it's better that way. Unless you guys rather just have us ramble for 30 minutes consecutively, I think sometimes a reset's good. We kind of recalibrate, refocus, eye the tiger, pounce, attack, strike.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if we had ads going in between these breaks.
Dollar bills.
That's coming, though.
Yeah, dollar bills. I got to get on that. All right, Corey, so we literally got, 10 minutes? To watch?
15, I think,
yeah,
3
like
periods.
Yeah, something like that. Fill everybody in on what they missed if they haven't read your fine work.
There wasn't really any news from the actual practice that I saw. What's his name? The defensive end, Peters.
Yeah, Xavier Peters.
He's been here the last 2 days, but he's not in pads. It's the acclimation part since he missed the acclimation portion of training camp. I guess waiting on the test score, getting it confirmed. But he's out there working. Sometimes he's working with the defensive ends, just not in pads, and other times he's by himself going through individual drills.
Well, I've seen him in times about individual. I've seen, I think, a GA maybe or a Q, like a quality control guy with him. So he's not just like solo.
He's running through stuff, but just with his own personal GA. Yeah. Man, he certainly looks the part. Big kid.
Yeah.
Big kid. And then I would say, man, to me, maybe the most encouraging thing was, two. Marvin Wilson, fully padded up, going through drills, looked like going full speed. I mean, I know full speed in quotes because he's that big and he's just hitting the sled. But he's hitting it, and he's getting kudos from Odell Hagens for the way he's coming off the ball, so that's good. And then DJ Matthews looked to me, I went and watched a specific receiver drill, and he looked to be the quickest of the bunch. And he was running full speed, and David Kelly was really excited. So get him back in the mix is a big deal too.
Yeah, on Monday when they started practice, DJ was off to this little sort of rectangular piece of field turf they have, and he was doing core work and lower back exercise. We did see him eventually, I guess, go out and field punts, but on Monday he was also strapped to this one device. It was like a harness that had like a retractable cord, and he would just sidestep and then switch and walk to the other side, and then he would backpedal, and it would like string him back. It was like a fishing rod or like a cast or like a reel. That's what I'm looking for. But on Tuesday, he was out there. He might have had a sleeve on his leg or something like that, but otherwise he was out there bouncing around doing things, the other guy would say, or doing something rather now, right? He was out there doing something.
That's the nomenclature we use now. But, he looks good. I don't know how much pain he's in with the back, but he looked to be full speed.
Right. Offensive line-wise, we didn't see them really do anything beyond individual work. We didn't even see a starting five or anything like that. But I didn't spy Cole Minshew. I really wasn't – had my eyes peeled out for him, but I didn't see him. I don't think Gene saw him either.
Yeah, and I didn't either.
And don't panic anybody. Like, this is the thing. I always deliberate –
what's today, August 14th?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 3 weeks.
Well, 15th as you're listening to this at home. But
yeah, sorry.
We're recording this. We're not live on the radio, so we can let you guys know that this is being recorded.
Oh, when are you going to drop this bad boy? You going to wait till the
you got to get wake up, Ward. Wake up. You know?
Oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's not maybe. All right, fair enough.
It's not second wind war chant,
right.
know?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's August 14th as we're recording this. Chill out, everybody, if you're panicking about certain guys not being out there.
Yeah, but he was not out there. He was not out there for the portion we saw. But, again, we saw 3 periods. So we saw periods 2, 3, and 4 of the day of probably 20-something. So maybe he comes out there later in the day.
Yeah. Kind of like a guy in WWE coming out, running in late.
Yeah, yeah, sliding in. Everybody gets excited. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Did you talk to DeAndre? I showed up late on time, if that makes sense to anybody at home, so I wasn't able to partake in the scrum with him. Were you there, or was that Gene's
That was
account?
mostly Gene because I was talking to Walt Bell.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Walt Bell then, I guess. I was going to say that maybe for the next segment, but I guess we could talk about DeAndre. Just in terms of, I talked to Cam. Cam was asked, Cam Akers, projected running starting back for the Florida State Seminoles.
That might have been. Now, Gene afterwards said that he thought Francois did really well, seemed pretty good, pretty personable in the interview, and it might have been because you weren't there.
Yeah,
maybe that's what freed him up.
Correlation, causation.
Yeah, to be himself.
It's like, man, that Brown kid's not here. Thank God,
yeah.
Man, he bothers me. Haiti for life, son. Yeah. So Cam Akers was asked just because DeAndre was out there at first, and then the scrum got him, and then people were asking Cam just about general question about DeAndre, and he said that he did think that DeAndre's shown a lot of leadership abilities this offseason that you want to see from a quarterback. Nooney said something about he's done a good job, he thinks, of people on the outside trying to throw things at him, and he's doing a good job of avoiding that. I don't know if that means like the media or myself, or if it means friends, acquaintances, because the whole thing was, I don't know if DeAndre posted on Instagram or Marvin, I think it was DeAndre. Somebody posted something. It was a bunch of emojis, but it was like, don't ask, don't got it, don't call, can't go. It was a bunch of things basically just telling people, like, leave me alone. But not like in a selfish way, just kind of like, I got to get myself right. Season's here. Like, listen, I'm not going to go out and grab a bite with you. I can't let you borrow any money. Like, they're just don't bring me into any of that of whatever. Like, I'm just focusing solely on this. So, encouraging. And then Cam Akers is probably going to be your leading running back, and Nooney, if he keeps looking the way he has, might be your leading wide receiver.
Yeah, and it's good to have those guys talking so glowingly about you. So yeah, that's certainly a positive. You wouldn't take anything negative away from that. It's the whole actions versus words types things, and we'll see. But again, so far Francois seems to be a guy that they feel like they can count on.
Right. What is it? You're doing so much I can't even hear your words?
Your actions speak so loud, Aslan, that I can't hear what you're saying. I can't hear it because your actions.
How do you react when you sort of attribute a quote to a person, but then you hear another person use it, and you're like, oh, wait, he didn't make that up? Because I saw like SEC behind the scenes stuff on Saban. Saban does that exactly. That's total Saban.
Everything that Jimbo, the results and the process stuff was all Jimbo, was all Saban stuff. I don't know what exactly, other than bounce around, do some things. I don't know that Jimbo coined anything specifically, but I'm sure Nick Saban learned it from somewhere.
Yeah.
I doubt he coined it either. It's just, it's kind of regurgitated stuff. But also, part of the cliches are true. Cliches are said a lot because they're true a lot. And I've to be honest with you, I've used that saying with my son. Like, man, you can tell me you're sorry. Yeah. You can tell me you're sorry. You can cry and say that you're sorry. But then why did you do what you did? If you really were sorry, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. You wouldn't wait till afterwards, get in trouble, and then apologize for it. So, I basically kind of try to parent like Jimbo coaches a football team.
And we'll see how that is results.
So I shut everybody out. No media.
Hey, think about this question. We're going to go to commercial. Or not really commercial. We're going to go to a reset. I don't want you to answer it when we come back. I don't want you to answer it tomorrow. We'll talk about it at another point. But I was listening to a podcast with with Bill Simmons talking to James Andrew Miller, the guy who does all the behind the curtain at SNL, CAA, ESPN, that guy.
That CAA book is awesome.
Yeah, and he did his whole podcast, Origins or whatever, on Nick Saban, and they were talking about a ripple effect that Nick Saban was part of, possibly. Like, just think about this at some point. We'll come back, but just if you could ever think about, like, what's the one single, if you could go back in time and just change one sort of event, nothing, I don't want to say too major, but just in terms of the sports world that would have had such long, far-arcing ramifications. Just think about that sometime.
Okay.
So I want to have you ready for it, because listening to the podcast, one came to my mind, but I'm like, I didn't want to put Corey on the spot because then Corey wouldn't have time to think about it, and it's not fair. So just think about it, and sometime we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But when we come back, we'll talk more about the Noles.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So I think you already have your answer. I have mine, but we won't talk about it. We're going to talk about the Knowles.
What a crazy tease.
Well, I didn't want to talk.
When are we going to bring it up then? Is that just off into the ether forever?
We'll bring it up in the third segment of today's
right,
show.
fair
Then
enough.
we'll do
Gotcha.
that. Let's talk about the Knowles because people will be like, well, this is called Wake Up War Chant, not Wake Up College Football Universe. But in that vein, I don't know if it's the biggest story in the nation right now in college football, but it's one of the two. What happened in Maryland with DJ Durkin being placed on administrative leave.
What'd you call him?
DJ Durkin?
Oh, I thought you said EJ Durkin.
Oh, no.
And then when we did the video, I thought you called him CJ Durkin.
Did I?
No, I
so.
think you're probably saying DJ each time. I just hear it.
I probably need
incorrectly.
to enunciate better.
No,
I
like
don't
no.
enunciate very well. I'm sure somebody at home is like, yeah, you do. At which point, I don't care now. I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to work on it anymore because you said
Fair.
I do have to.
I like that. I like that attitude.
I don't want to go the panicky route because that's not fun. It just gets everybody into a tizzy. But Maryland had a player who passed away during off-season conditioning drills. With DJ McNair or Jordan McNair.
Jordan McNair,
I
yeah.
apologize. Jordan McNair. Young man lost his life playing the game he loves. A lot of things have come under scrutiny now at Maryland in terms of a toxic culture, strength coaches making guys, eat to the point that they vomit and all sorts of crazy sort of things. And I mean, it's a fair ask to question a guy who was there for a year and just kind of see maybe his thoughts on it. So you actually had the huevos, the onions to ask Walt that question.
Well, but I didn't ask him like, hey, did you make guys throw up, or did you think somebody was going to die? I wasn't. I tried to be as tactful as possible. But yeah, man, Florida State's new offensive coordinator, brand new offensive coordinator, was the offensive coordinator the last 2 years at Maryland, which is now under scrutiny. And
He was there for 2 years?
I believe so,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll fact
Maybe
check.
just 1 year. I thought it was 2. He was hired by DJ Durkin to be the offensive coordinator, and now DJ Durkin is going to almost certainly be involved in a lawsuit for the death of a young man and probably will lose his job there because of the culture that he had at Maryland. And there's a person on Florida State staff that was at Maryland. So I asked him about it, just what that culture was like. And he was prepared for it. He knew he was talking to the media today, and he knew he was going to get asked that question. In fact, he got asked it by someone else after I asked it, who wasn't there at the time, who wasn't there when I asked the question. So he came back and asked it. So he knew he was going to get it, and he got it twice. But his answer was pretty revealing, because what he did was he talked about how much he liked Florida State, and he likes being around a program where people are smiling, they're having fun. He says he likes to, it was a long-winded answer, not long-winded as in it was a gas bag talking. I mean, it was just a long answer. It's a very complex issue. There's some things I'm sure he's not comfortable talking about that probably he did see. There is a chance he might be asked questions in a legal matter. I mean, if they want to go back and ask people that worked for DJ Durkin in the past, I mean, all this is going to be a story for a long time. But it was the first time we talked to Walt Bell since this story broke. And so I just thought it would kind of almost a dereliction of duty if I didn't ask him about it, because who knows what he's going to say. He might say, I'm completely stunned. I saw nothing like that in my time at Maryland. I don't know what happened, but I saw nothing like that.
Right.
Or he could have said, no, unfortunately, I'm not stunned at all with the way that culture, the way that culture was, the way the strength program was. It was, he didn't say either of those things, but you never know, so you ask the question. But what I thought was really telling was his answer was vague. You'll have to watch the video, folks.
Why are you doing clickbait? It's Wake Up War Chant, man. We give the people what they want.
Yeah, well, right. But he also, I thought what he didn't say was telling. And how much he talked about how Florida State and the culture here. He didn't say it was better than Maryland or different than Maryland, but he didn't have to, because it is. And that's what he was saying by not saying that. I know that makes no sense. I just talked around in circles. But if you watch the video, you'll see what I'm saying. He talked about how much he enjoys the culture at Florida State, without disparaging the one he just left. Right. But he really didn't like the culture at Maryland
because of the way he sort of framed his comments to you.
Yes,
you think?
I just think that's the takeaway that I got, that he did not like it there, but he did not come out and say that in as many words. But that's certainly the impression I got.
Right, you are correct per usual. 2 seasons, 16 and 17 at Maryland.
What I do, my man. What I do. And never had a quarterback. Quarterbacks kept getting hurt.
Yeah, poor fella.
Hopefully he's not cursed.
Yeah. Oof.
I shouldn't have thrown that out in the universe.
We got three options. Bring them out.
Got 6 options, man.
Yeah.
Nothing but quarterbacks on that practice field.
Tossing the pigskin around. Now, we obviously don't, we've seen Walt Bell in a limited amount of time as the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach at Florida State University. Wikipedia says that he's Walter A. Bell IV.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cool. There's a whole bunch of Treys there. We got Trey McKitty. We got Sanford Samuels III. Leonard Warner III, a.k.a. Trilogy.
Right.
So maybe we can do something
He's
about
Quattro.
that. But we've seen 2 full practices with Florida State, Monday and Tuesday of last week. Full the entire time. We weren't able to film it, but we were able to observe it the entire time. We've had probably minimum 30 minutes to observe every practice other than the one on Tuesday. You can I don't know, you can maybe figure out a way how you want to present yourself to a certain degree when the media's out there, but at the end of the day, man, you're coaching. They don't care that we're out there.
Right.
I don't think so. I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't think anything changes in the 5 periods that we're out there to when we leave. Maybe certain minor things, but ultimately at the core of who you are, I don't think you can fake it for that kind of period of time. Nothing from Walt Bell I've seen is dog cuss, run you into the ground, demean you, wreck you to build you back up sort of stuff. I mean, it's constant talking to you like a grown-up, this is what you need to do sort of thing. So, I mean, if you start panicking there because of, what's going to maybe happen at Maryland, I mean, I would think Walt Bell's maybe one of the, maybe the good guy out there.
I think so, and yeah, that's a good point, and I should have made that. He isn't a guy that seems to coach by dehumanizing or demoralizing. He doesn't do that. He's he just kind of yells encouragement a lot, and he's not a jokey guy. He's not slapping fives and all that, but he's a serious dude. But he's also kind of quiet with them, if that makes sense. And yeah, he doesn't. I would be stunned if the stuff we hear coming out of Maryland, you have to read it or Google it, people, but that he would have been a party to that. And maybe not I mean, it's football coaches, man. They don't break ranks a lot. So I'm sure, I would assume if this culture is as bad as we think.
There's some anonymous sources in there that broke ranks.
Sure, but and that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't think he would. I think football coaches a lot of times, even if they don't agree with the way a coach is handling things, they don't feel it's their place to correct them. And so he might have seen some things, if that culture is as bad as we think, that were appalling, and some of the stuff we hear about is appalling. But that doesn't mean he was one of the ones doling it out or partook in it. Yeah.
Did he say
partook? Is that the past tense of partake, or is it
participated? Maybe
partaken. Partaked.
This is upset somebody
partook,
for sure.
Right?
Remember, there was one guy that was like, "I don't care about grammar lessons during a radio show about football." Got it.
There's going to be people like that, man.
Just got it. Can't give them oxygen. Anything else Walt said out of that caught your ear? Dude, so this is he's the third different guy in 2 different days to mention one freshman.
Yeah, man. Because Walt Bell came out at the same time as David Kelly, so I didn't get a chance to ask David Kelly about. But Taggart mentioned Keyshawn Helton, who's about, what is he? Can you look him up? He's like 5'8". Didn't we look him up already?
Carry on.
He's a 5'8", 5'9", one of those guys, kind of jitterbug receivers, true freshman. Taggart mentioned him yesterday. Walt Bell mentioned him today, and then Francois mentioned him today. All unsolicited.
That's 4 then, or was it just Willie who mentioned him on Monday? I thought
maybe
2 people.
I feel like somebody else mentioned him yesterday too. Yeah. But it's all unsolicited. It's not like, hey, coach, can you tell me about Keyshawn Helton?
5'9", 162.
Okay, so not the biggest dude in the world, but apparently is real hard to cover.
Champion bloodlines though is his cousin is DeKalyn Brooks.
True. I don't know is there anybody else famous in that family. I know. To have a cousin that's a football player at Florida State is a pretty big deal. So unsolicited, like today, when I asked Walt Bell, I said, who are some of the freshmen that have stood out? First name, Keyshawn Helton. First name. I didn't ask position. Mm-hmm. I didn't really ask side of the ball. I mean, I assumed he was going to talk offense, but you don't know. And then Taggart did it. Yes, Taggart did it the first day we were down here. And then when I asked DeAndre Francois, I said, "Who are some of the how are the freshman wideouts doing, or who are some of freshmen that have stood out?" And he said they've all stood out, which is the answer you're supposed to give, sure. But then he mentioned Keyshawn Helton immediately by name. So the guy wasn't one of the highly ranked dudes that they offered, that they signed at the end. He was a late take. I don't think the previous regime had offered him. But, man, judging from the first week and a half of camp, he's been one of the early stars of camp, and he might be playing a lot.
He was a 3-star, and they don't even have him ranked, Rivals.com 3-star. They don't even have him ranked in terms of where he is nationally by position or by state. You look at his bio, he has offers from Coastal Carolina, Central Arkansas, and the Knolls. Made his visit on February 2nd. I mean, signing day was probably less than a week after that, I assume. So,
yeah, it's the first Wednesday of February.
It felt like, let's just we need bodies.
Central Arkansas and Coastal Carolina. I mean, think about that. Yeah. Man, he came really close to being a Chippewa or whatever Coastal Carolina.
No, Chanticleer.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
Central Arkansas is the Bears, I think.
Are they? Who are the Chippewas? Central Michigan, maybe.
Yes.
Man, that's just what imagine if he turns out to be a real player. Those were the two. Those were the two offers he had at the end, and Willie Taggart pulled the trigger on him, and now he's got a chance to contribute a lot at Florida State.
His bio says that he's known for his world-class speed with a sub 4.4 40-yard dash.
I mean, all right,
that's pretty good.
World class though.
Sub 4.4, come on, brother.
Is he running on the track? He needs to be over on the FSU track team.
Maybe get Bob Rammond on the show.
Get over there. Yeah.
Bobby, listen to the show, Bob. Holler at him, man. Figure it out.
Yeah, get him over there.
Yeah, I mean, his bio says he chose Florida State after receiving interest from Tennessee and South Florida, among others.
But receiving interest ain't an offer, and he didn't have them. So, yeah, man, if this pans out, kudos to Taggart and David Kelly for finding him and locking him up at the end.
Yeah, we need to ask, because I imagine with him obviously having ties to the Brooks family, there might have been some, hey, look at this kid kind of a thing. Not doing anybody a favor, but, hey, don't forget, his kid's out here. Maybe give him a look.
Yeah, they did have a relationship with him. I asked Walt Bell about him, about the recruitment of him, but it was more of a Taggart-Kelly thing, but he did mention that connection, that they did know him from their South Florida days and from their Tampa connections with Brooks.
Okay. All right, let's step aside. Let's do a reset, and then maybe we'll talk about our one moment that we could have done to alter the landscape of college football and maybe the world.
Okay.
And maybe sprinkle in a couple things about the Knolls, because it's Wake Up War Chant. That's what people like to hear. We'll be right back.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Oh, yeah. Round and round, I get around. Still clown with the underground when we come around.
Wake up! I'm Aslani's Corey. It's Wake Up War Chant. Part of the WarChant.com family. We're everywhere, doing everything. Podcasts, Seminole Headlines. Do we consider that part of the WarChant.com family?
It should be. There's two of us on there.
I think if you guys got divorced, though, Jeff would keep everything in the divorce, I don't think you and I would
maybe, yeah. Who knows?
So, you guys will be doing one next week, and when you get back?
Yeah, right. We'll be back. We'll be back running regular next week for the rest of the football season.
All right, there you go, everybody. So relax. They'll be back. Ira will be joining us down here in Bradenton tomorrow, or actually later today as you're listening to the program on Wednesday. And I will be too. Man, this whole commuting thing, I really bit off more than I can chew. That was a far drive from my mom's house down to Bradenton.
Yep, but you did it.
I did it. I'll do it 2 more times because I get a paycheck for it. Not because I love you people. You're mean to me. I'm kidding. You're all great. They're all great.
Sure they are.
They're great. All right. Let me see here. In terms of like Knoll-centric stuff to talk about, we touched upon it on our stand-up outside IMG Academy. Marvin Wilson was a good sight to see out there, getting praise from Odell Hagens. DeMarcus Christmas was in that same sort of drill and did a pretty good job, so that's encouraging to see. They both they look different when they're going through drills than everybody else behind them, so that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe see another guy or two to flash, though, just in case these guys need to blow during the game, because Mark Snyder was really very open and transparent about the fact a guy like Brian Burns, really, I think he said, 5 plays? Like, really,
yeah.
you can only let him go loose and take the restrictor plate off him for 5 plays before he's going to have to come off, or he's not going to be anywhere near as effective as he usually is. So, I mean, defensive tackle, that's maybe just as physical and, grueling of a position. So, depth there generating would be a nice thing. I just think Cam McDonald, that's another fun freshman.
And that's actually somebody that Walt Bell mentioned too.
Did he?
He's going to be a fantastic football player.
Okay. He does. You could just listen. I mean, I'm not a scout. I'm not going to try to pretend I'm a scout, but there's just certain things that you see that with your naked eye, it just feels like that looked different than what you just saw 5 seconds prior. Now, granted, he went fifth in line, so I mean that's where he is right now. But Cam McDonald just doing this in a simple agility route running drill. You're like, that guy's 6'5", whatever he's listed as, and he's running like, Tamorian Terry, maybe even a little bit more crisp, and he's going to be playing tight end. He's got a bunch of guys in front of him, though, but it's never a bad thing.
There's a lot of stuff there to mold. There's a lot of talent there to mold, which is, obviously what you want. Big dude that can move.
Yeah. His brother's also out there throwing the pigskin, too.
Yeah, walk-on quarterback, right?
Yeah. Oh, as
Norm,
I'm looking
what's his name, Norm?
Norm? Nolan.
Oh. Well.
No, not Norm McDonald. Not that guy. Let me see what Cam is listed as. Cam's listed as 6'4", 221. So that is almost Tamorian Terry-esque.
Yeah.
Actually, is Tamorian 221? I should probably look him up, too, while I'm talking about all this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be a tight end, you can't be 220 pounds. But maybe and we'll see. I mean, I know that they use tight ends in a lot of different ways in this offense where it's basically a big receiver.
Yeah.
So that might, but you still have to block some, theoretically, if you're a tight end.
I saw him going up on Monday against a probably fourth-string defensive end. Now, I don't think he's on scholarship, but a pretty decent enough player, and held his own. Did pretty well.
Probably wouldn't do well with 99, but none of them did.
Who would? Yeah. Even John Mackey himself probably couldn't keep Brian Burns at bay. I just wonder, I wish they would have some sort of, like, the Pope, they blow the smoke in the air when they're announcing a new Pope. I wish they would do something in some of those drills to announce who the winner is. Some of them is clear to see, like Brian Burns just starts swimming over a guy twice and you see the guy walking away with his head down. You're like, okay, Brian Burns won that drill. But there's some one-on-one stuff where they'll go crazy and they'll jump all over a dude. And you're like, oh, all right, he definitely won. There's other times where you see a similar outcome, but nobody even really gets all that excited. And you're kind of like, well, who won then? Like,
yeah.
Is that how it worked out? Did the defensive guy win there because he's on top, or how did that work out? So
yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how that stuff goes.
All right, I'm rambling. Let's get to it. All right, so I was listening to the podcast thing, and I was thinking about the one sort of, just one simple decision, move, transaction that could have changed the entire landscape of sports, and then maybe even trickle on into Florida State. I know people might say, like, what if the the Red Sox never sell Babe Ruth? I mean, who knows what happens there? The Yankees ever become that? But listening to the podcast and just reminded of, and it was Bill Simmons again talking to James Andrew Miller, who's the guy who's wrote all these books about ESPN, CAA, and he's doing a podcast now called Origins. I don't even know what it's all about, but his topic or subject is Nick Saban. They were talking, Bill Simmons was asking him about, he was really hoping that it would have worked out for Nick Saban in the NFL because Simmons is the New England guy who would have liked to see that sort of rivalry between Belichick and Saban.
Yeah.
I guess the urban legend is that Nick Saban, when he was in Miami for the Dolphins, wanted Drew Brees, but Brees was coming off the shoulder injury in San Diego. His doctors were like, he's fine. Miami was like, no, we don't think he's going to check out. So he got Dante Culpepper instead. Dante Culpepper, quickly
was not Drew Brees.
If Nick Saban gets Drew Brees, probably wins a bunch of games in Miami, probably sticks around there for a long bit, or maybe for a decent amount of time, not just 2 seasons or whatever it was. The New Orleans Saints never won a Super Bowl. Saban maybe doesn't go back to the NFL or to the college ranks. Alabama continues to languish.
If he does go back to the college ranks, it wouldn't have been in 2007.
Right.
Because, he's not going to leave Drew Brees. Because, Drew Brees is good for at least 2 or 3 extra wins. And wasn't he going 8-8 anyway?
Yeah.
So now you're 11-5 and you're in the playoffs. You're not leaving. Yeah. I don't think you're not going to leave Drew Brees. It's easier to leave Jay Fiedler and Dante Culpepper than it is to leave a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't a Hall of Fame quarterback at that point, but
if he had worked with him for a couple of years, maybe he sees, okay, this guy is really, really good. I don't want to leave. He's, in the NFL, man, you got to have one.
Right.
And if you don't have one, it's not fun. So once he's got Drew Brees, but then again, Drew Brees was good in San Diego, but he wasn't great.
Correct.
So was it Drew
Sean
Brees
Payton
going to
made him
Sean
great.
Payton?
Yeah.
Maybe there's not a huge difference, but when obviously he's better than Dante Culpepper, but is he enough? I do think, though, that if Brees goes to Miami, then somebody else gets that job in 07 after they fire Shula.
Rich Rod is who they were going after, supposedly. Supposedly, like, somebody was actually in the driveway of Rich Rodriguez's house, like Alabama, like maybe even Malamore, to offer him the job, but then they figured out they could actually get Nick Saban. They, like, left.
Oh, right.
It's pretty well chronicled. Not that actual event, but the fact that Alabama wanted Rich Rod. So, anyhow, think about it. He never goes to Alabama, or at least doesn't go to Alabama in 07. Alabama's nowhere near as good as they are. Maybe we're not living in a world right now where you have to pay a coach $7 million to keep him happy. You don't have to build a $55 million palace to keep him happy and his players happy. And just
assistant coaches are allowed to talk.
Yeah, just think about, I don't know, just that I think that one thing happens, he signs Drew Brees, all that could possibly pivot
I mean,
off
the Sabanization of college football has really deteriorated it for me in my eyes. It makes it, I mean, it should be more fun. I was talking about it at dinner. Like, just FSU football tweeted out a picture, a quick video of Janarius Robinson playing the piano.
That was really nice. I saw that.
And it's like, man, it's just a different program to cover. They have personalities, and they're allowed to show it. And would FSU football have even deemed to think to put something out like that last year to show that other side of a player? And would a kid have even sat at a piano and played during dinner while his teammates were eating? Would he have thought he could do that? It's just such a, it doesn't have to be so serious. It just doesn't. Because
miserable. How about that? You can be serious.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have to be miserable.
It doesn't have to be miserable. And it just seems like because Saban, God love him, and Belichick, God love him, they are the greatest of all times. But there are other ways to do it. Like the guy that was here before Jimbo Fisher. Like the guy that's here after Jimbo Fisher. There are other ways to run a program. And so it's so refreshing. I don't know why it didn't move me, but it was just so neat to see Janarius Rod. I had no idea that he played the piano. That's just a cool little thing. There's so many things about these kids that we're going to get to know now, and these coaches that we're going to get to know, and get to know them maybe a little bit more as people. And I know all we really care about at the end of the day is that they score touchdowns and all that. But you also want to like the kids. Correct. You want to know the kids. Yep. And you want them to be able to show their personality a little bit and not be so, they're not in the military. They're not.
No.
It's not military. It's a game. Let them have fun. And real quick, speaking of the butterfly effect and the one decision, it wouldn't be as big as Saban because of like what you mentioned, what Saban did for all of college football. But Bobby Bowden, if Alabama doesn't ask him to interview for the job, in fact, if they don't ask Bobby Bowden to interview, if they just say we want to hire you, he would have left Florida State in '86 and gone to Alabama. So how does that shift everything?
Oh, geez, I'm not even here right now. I'm literally not even here with you right now.
That would be the biggest travesty of all.
Great show. We'll talk to you guys later. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no.
He was real close. He wanted the job. They wanted him, but because he's Bobby Bowden, God love him, he had way too much pride to interview. He felt he had done enough at Florida
Really?
State. Oh, yeah. He had done enough at Florida State. It's like, did Alabama interview Saban? Or did they just say, hey, we're offering you the job? He wanted the job offered to him. They had just played in the All-American Bowl in Birmingham in 1986, December of 1986. I think he went to Tuscaloosa the next day or met with people the next day, and they didn't offer him the job. They said he was a candidate, and they wanted to interview him. And he said, peace out, I'm going back to Tallahassee. And then literally the next year started a 14-year dynasty run in Tallahassee. But he was willing to leave that to go back home to be the Alabama coach.
And then in the interim,
who do they hire?
Bill Curry.
No, who does Florida State hire to replace Bowden?
Oh.
What happens there? Like, they still had a loaded roster.
Dude, wow.
So they were going to win. They were going to win games in 87, 88 because they had a loaded roster. But then what happens after that? Who did they hire? Does Bowden do what he did at Alabama, what he did at Florida State? Does he coach until 2009 at Alabama? So then the job's not even open for Saban? Or does he fall flat and not do well there? There's a lot of interesting stuff, man.
Way to bring it to Florida State. Good job.
That's what I do, buddy. That's what I do. Maybe somebody listening knows because, it was happening. I think Florida State fans in 1986 were all but assured that they were losing their head coach to Alabama. So I wonder who was on that short list to replace him. I don't know if people have written about it or if the president at the time or the AD at the time, I can't even remember who that would have been, Bob Goying maybe, already had a candidate in mind to replace Bowden once he left for Alabama.
That would have been an interesting short.
But that would have been a seismic shift.
Seismic.
But it worked out well for Florida State. And Alabama kind of struggled there for about 20 years.
Were you asking who the president at Florida State was or the AD?
AD.
All right, so you have to change that. Bernie Sliger was the
Sliger,
president at that
but
time.
I was wondering if the AD probably would have. Well, I guess both of them would have been in on the hire, but I wonder if they had somebody in mind to replace Bowden.
Yeah, I'm trying to hear stalling very poorly. Oh, I can tell you this. Cam Akers mentioned Anthony Grant as a really good standout. So Anthony Grant, Buford's own running back.
Yep,
going to be
heard
good.
some good things about him at camp. Wonder how much he probably won't be able to touch the ball a whole lot this year, but they like him.
Bob Goen was 90 through 94. Good for even knowing that. Is this the same Hootie? Hootie Ingram? Cecil
yeah.
Hootie Ingram? Isn't that a guy who was running Augusta for a little bit? Or is that a different Hootie?
I think that's a different Hootie. Could be the same Hootie, but I think that's a different
All right, Cecil Hootie Ingram. Maybe if anybody knows him, they can let us know if he had a short list and who's out there.
Yeah, let us know, folks. I know some of you people listen to this show, even though it's a podcast, it's not on the radio right now. You guys know what was up, what was going on 30 years ago. God, 32 years ago.
He actually played at Alabama. Look at this. He began his coaching career in July 1956 when he was hired as an assistant football coach at, of all places, Manatee High School in Bradenton, Florida.
Who?
The AD of Florida State at the time, Hootie Ingram. Yeah.
All right, it all comes full circle.
It does.
Where are we right now, Aslan?
We are
in room 216,
the
Holiday Inn Express in Bradenton, Florida. I'm just kidding about the room number, folks. Don't come knocking on this door.
Do not dare. All right, man. That's been a good one. This is good. I like this one. I feel good about this podcast. Hope
Good,
you all
man.
do
I
as
feel
well.
good about you.
All right, let's reconvene tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody, if you want to.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.